photography shopping live stream where we go online together and look for deals. And also, I like to open up to open Q&A as well after I go over some of the deals that I found last night and some for today. Uh, so last week was the big Prime Day or Prime Week. It was like 4 days of deals, and there were certainly a lot of good deals. Hopefully some of you were able to take advantage of that, and I greatly appreciate you guys using my affiliate links from last week. And as always, as disclosure, I'm an affiliate for Amazon and others, B&H, eBay, KEH, and I'll have my affiliate links down below. Also, I was able to get a $20 coupon from MPB, so I think I put that in the description. If not, I'll be sure to do that in the chat section and add it after the stream. So if you're watching this after the stream is finished, then I can, you should see the link for a 20% or $20 coupon for B&H. I'm not an affiliate for B&H, but I recently bought something and they offered to give $20 off to anyone I refer, and I get $20 off my next purchase. So, hey, why not? If we're planning to buy from them anyway, why not take 20 bucks, right? Um, so there's that. And I also have a 15% discount code for DxO Photolab for new customers. If you already own Photolab or have an account, you won't be able to take advantage of that. But if you're brand new to DxO, you can get 15% off using the coupon below as well. Okay, so that's kind of the basics. So I went online last night. I'm looking for deals. And there's actually still quite a few items that have gone on sale since Prime Day that are actually cheaper than they were when it was Prime Day, which is typically the case. I've been doing this for years now, and you kind of see prices fluctuate up and down. But there's some good deals to be had, and some of the deals from Prime Day have carried over. They didn't end on Prime Day; they're still offering them now. Typically, they're the 20% off type deals that were on Prime Day. They're still 20% off today. Excuse me. So good to see you, Kevin and Jeff and Marcia. I see Paul is here. Eric, good to see you, and Ethan as well. Okay, so I did get a lot of stuff for Prime Day. I was going to share some of those things during the stream. Let me just get my windows here in order, and we'll get started. Okay, I think usually I have this one over here. Yeah. Okay, very good. Now I can see everything. So, as far as what I got, I'll just start with the webcam that I'm using now. It should be much better quality than the webcam I was using last week, and not quite as good as when I was using my EM5 Mark III as a webcam, and certainly better than the OM5, or I'm sorry, the EM10 Mark II, which has died. It's on the shelf now. It's going to be for parts only at this point. But I can show you, like, I have the M5 over here, and this is the M5 Mark III with the 7-14 f4 lens Panasonic. And I think it looks better, actually, than the webcam. The webcam looks a little bit pasty. But I really like the functionality that I'm getting from the webcam. I may have, ah, what I need to do, let's, let's go back to the webcam. There we go. I don't know. I still need to tweak the colors. It's a little bit oversaturated. Uh, but the webcam that I got was the Insta360. I think it's called a Link 2. Let me pull that up. And what I like about the this webcam is it has like tracking and a very wide field of view if I need it. and the video quality is right up to par with anything else that I would be using. Let me let me find where I bought it. Dang it, I think I left my tripod in the car. I wanted to show that off too. It's a great tripod. Where's where's my webcam? Oh, here we go. So this is the webcam I bought. It was $50 off on Prime Day. But if you want a webcam, this is the best one that I could find at at the price that it's at, having all of the features that it has. And I'm pretty happy with it. So no problems here. Comes with great software. So if you need a webcam that can track with this gimbal thing, this is the way to go. No, hands down. So let's go into some of the deals that I found, last night and today. Uh, okay, so we have an articulating arm tripod here, 80 bucks, right? 79.19. And I have seen this in person. Some people in our photo club own this particular tripod and are very, very happy. Uh, and this does give you some options, converts to a monopod. The build quality is very, very good. It's all metal, has a really nice smooth ball head, and having functionality of a articulating arm is really great for close up and macro type photography, but also for some video work. You can do some really interesting video tricks with the way this thing articulates and rotates. Although it's not a video tripod, and it has the addition of the quarter 20 screws in the sides, so you can attach accessories. Typically, what I've done in the past is because our Micro Four Third cameras are so small and light, uh, let alone like our TG5, sometimes I'll attach my TG5 on the side here together with my main camera and do different things. It really worked out when I was doing fireworks, where I wanted to do a time lapse on the fireworks, but then the second camera would record the fireworks in 4K. And so that's a typical use case for me. I'm sure you guys can think of a lot more. But at this price, this is a great price for this tripod and the functionality that you get. So give that some thought. Uh, this is another great tripod for 30 bucks. There's a lot of tripods at a $30 price point that suck. Okay, this is going to be the very best one you can get for $30. All metal ball head, metal legs. It has the flip locks. I think on the lower end tripods, it makes more sense to get the flip locks than the twist locks. Because on the very cheap tripods, the twist locks, they use very cheap parts, and there's plastic shims that, create the tension. And I've broken and I've seen others break the shims in the twist lock type tripods. And you're out. You're not going to find replacement shims, and pretty much you have to throw the tripod away just for a little tiny plastic part. Uh, so on the higher end tripods, these quality materials, and a lot of times you can find the shims, replacement shims, for them. But in the lower end tripods, I'd say sub $300. It's very, very hard to find replacement shims for twist locks. I've seen people fabricate their own with a 3D printer, but anyhow, this is a great tripod for $30. I can highly recommend that one. And then finally, the filter sets are going back on sale. Now, in this case, only the 82 millimeter is on sale. For $45, you're getting a magnetic filter set. And this has everything you really need in it. The ND1000 and a circular polarizer, a metal lens cap, and it also includes the carrying case. And the UV filter has limited use you know, I would say just use the UV filter like when you're in a uh, kind of on the beach and there's a lot of splash and spray from waves, then maybe I might use a UV filter to protect the front element. But generally speaking, I don't recommend using a UV element. They don't really protect your front element uh, in really any meaningful way. So, but ND filters, ND 1000 is a good daylight filter, so you can do very long exposures with an ND 1000. And then of course, the polarizer helps reduce reflections and hazing and all of that stuff. So this is the basic essentials of photography accessories, tripods and filters, right? Every photographer should have those things with them all the time. Okay. Uh, Here's another set. This is a little bit more in line with what most of us are shooting, a 58 millimeter filter thread. It's great for the 12 to 40 Pro, the 75 1.8, the 40 to 150. I mean, there's a lot of filters or lenses that use this filter thread size in the Micro Four Thirds systems, the 35 to 100 from Panasonic. And these are very easy to step up to the 62 millimeter filter thread on, say, the 12 to 40 Pro f2.8 and others. So this is kind of my go-to filter size going forward. And again, we have a really nice set here. We have ND8, ND64, and a circular polarizer. And this is, I'd say, the perfect filter set for as far as the ND filters go, for doing flash photography, portrait photography, and giving you a few extra stops of uh, exposure so that you can do things like waterfalls. Now, I would combine ND64 is not quite enough to do daytime, full bright sunlight waterfalls. You can, and you'll get some motion blur, but I'd say in combination with the built-in ND filters on many of the OM system cameras, this is a really good combination. And these are screw-on filters, not magnetic, but it does come with the case. This case alone costs more than $7. Uh, so this is really a bargain. Even at the regular price of $14, this is a good deal. But at $7.42, this to me is kind of a no-brainer when it comes to filter sets, because you're paying what, about $2 per item here. That's just crazy. Okay, my favorite filter of all is actually this one, which is a combination ND filter and polarizer built into one. It's a little tricky to manage the two different effects, uh, you know, in effectively, but once you get the hang of it, it's great, right? I did a video on this. The optical quality, this is their Nano X series from K&F. This is their highest quality lens in terms of optics. They do have another level of lenses that, add brass, uh, use brass metal rings and things, and so they use a little higher quality materials in the high-end filters, but the optical quality, there's no difference. This is the highest optical quality you can get from a K&F, and I can vouch for the quality. I'm not seeing any loss in resolution, and I pixel peep the heck out of these. And these are great, great filters. They're true color, so you're not going to really get any color shifting. Uh, you'll always get some just because of the nature of light, right? And or the nature of polarizers and ND filters, they block light to have that effect. And when you're blocking any kind of light, you're going to get a color shift because you're letting some frequencies in less than others. But yeah, this is a great, great filter. And then going on to some backpacks and bags, there's some good deals here. This is a really excellent backpack. Uh, again, this is sight unseen, but I'm familiar with the K&F brand, and I own a couple of their products, backpacks and uh, bags that I bought with my own money, and I'm very, very happy with their products, and this one's no different. It's a little deceiving from the image here, but this backpack actually opens from the back. So you would lay the backpack down on the front here to access your gears. So it's kind of my preferred way to open a backpack because then when I put the backpack back on my back, I'm not going to get all the dirt and bugs and other things onto my clothes, right on my back. So I prefer the rear opening. It also has the side pocket, also has the tripod holder here on the side, and then a semi-hard shell here on the front, which is just holding like accessories and batteries and things like that. You can see it here. It just has a couple of pockets, and let me, yeah, a couple of pockets. I'm sorry, I was just checking my audio. But you could put like your cell phone in here and protect it even more than you would if you just slid it into a regular pocket. So that's a nice little touch there. And it's a sort of a medium-sized backpack. I'm guessing 20 liters, give or take. And the straps, it does have a belt strap system. It's it helps secure the tripod from, swinging around on your back when you're bending down or riding a bicycle. It also gives you additional support if now this is not an ideal true belt system, but it will help alleviate some of the weight that goes onto your shoulders when you have the bottom strap attached. A full-on belt system would actually take all of the weight off of your shoulders and put them onto your hips, and then you can go all day long hiking with a backpack. But this will alleviate some of that weight, but it's primarily for stability purposes. And you know, it's better to have it and not use it than need it and not have it, right? This is one of those things. Uh, so I like everything about this backpack. It also has the straps here on the back, which is great for carrying loose items. Typically, I would think you could stuff some umbrellas in there. Just lightweight type items. Maybe your jacket could fit behind there. I've seen people put other things back there, but for me, the extra straps on the outside can be very, very handy for holding things that you don't really need to get protected, right? You can just kind of stuff them in there. So I like that, and yeah, it's on sale now for $72. This is a great backpack for $72. Okay, and then this is an interesting deal. This is a decent size messenger bag. It's another 5% coupon here, so you're gonna buy this for like $18, right? Or I'm sorry, $19 instead of 20. I'm not crazy about the color personally, but the black one is selling at the $43 price. If I select black, well, okay, black is on. It wasn't on sale yesterday, so if you want black, you're going to pay $6 more, or actually closer to $7 more, because this one has the coupon. I don't think I would pay $26 for this, but I would certainly pay 18 or $19 with this coupon. And it comes with a couple of dividers. It looks like the strap is stitched into the bag. Nice mesh pockets on the side. And let's see. Do they have any other photos here representative? Because what I'm looking for are any additional pockets, because I just see the two pockets on the side, but they're not showing the back if there's a rear pocket. It may not have a rear pocket, just the two on the side. I like little rear pockets on the outside. And this may not apply to you anyway, but I keep my parking permits, my photo permits and things in the bag in the backpack uh, for easy access. And that's what I use it for mostly. But uh, I can't say that this one has one. So now this is a killer deal, right? 70% off. Uh, and we got sort of this gray and teal color combination. So it's going to be easy to see things inside your bag because a lot of backpacks are all black inside and it's hard to find things sometimes. But I thought this little slide out camera compartment was pretty neat. I like that. And, this is your basic canvas material. It's sort of a medium-sized backpack. It's not going to hold a ton of stuff, but that means it's not going to be weighed down too much, and it's going to be easy to carry the few extra lenses and other gear, maybe your lunch, things like that in here. Comes with a rain cover if you get caught in a downpour. So there's a lot to like about this bag, I think. At 50, and it also has a belt strap here as well for stability. So $15. I mean, the insert alone is worth $15, because you can use the insert in any backpack or messenger bag. So if you have your own messenger bag or backpack that you like, but it doesn't have compartments for camera gear, you could just buy this just for the compartment because those compartments cost like $15, if you try to buy them separately. And here it's sort of kind of built in and included. So I'm not crazy about this bluish or teal color, but for $15, man, I just can't you just can't beat that deal. And this did not go on sale during Prime Day. This was, the normal price of 50. Like here's the one in black. Uh so I really like that deal there. Here's another really good deal for messenger style bag. This has sort of all of the components I look for in a messenger bag or sling. It's just big enough for a full frame camera and a lens, but I would say it's more ideal for our smaller camera systems and Micro Four Thirds and APS-C, where you're going to be able to carry like your camera lens and a flash and a trigger. It has a front pocket and a rear pocket. They're both zippered, so it'll protect whatever's in there from the elements. The strap is stitched into the bag, so it's going to be more durable and also be quieter, right? So when you're walking around, you don't sound like you're walking your dog, right? With the license tag jingling around. So I like this bag a lot. I like the color, just sort of a neutral dark gray. The insert in here is awesome. I have an insert very similar to this. This is a Peak Design type style. You can fold one side down to carry your longer lenses and camera body, or you can fold them both up. And they also have partially, they collapse a little bit, so you can put your cameras down in straight. So $16. This is a killer deal for a backpack of this quality and these kind of features. I can't see any fault with this bag. Also has the tripod straps on the bottom to carry a smaller tripod. So if you need a decent messenger bag, and it has the loops here for the zippers, so it's easier to open when you have gloves on. Really nice nylon strap, fully adjustable, etc. So I don't see anything wrong with this bag for $15. Also, it has a handle on the back here as well. This is every bit as good as the K&F backpack, in my opinion, that costs 2, 3 times as much. Um, because it's using a lot of this, it has a lot of the same features. In fact, I really can't see, other than a little bit of the styling on the outside, I can't see any difference between this and my K&F backpack, um, which I'll show you. This is my K&F backpack. Now I got this on a special Prime sale or whatever. I paid a little less than $30 for this one, and that was a great deal. But you can see it has the same handle on the back, zipper top. I took the compartment out of this one to use it in something else, so I put my own dividers in here. But front pocket, rear pocket zippered, and of course the tripod straps. And that bag, for all intents and purposes, is this bag, and this is an excellent bag. And you can get that one for $16. That's hard to beat. So I can highly recommend this bag for $16. Even at $27, it's a better deal than the K&F when it's on sale. Uh, so I like that. Now, a couple other things. This is kind of going into the realm of not so much the best deal ever on this particular product, but really good deals. I talked about this one during Prime Day. It's still on sale. Carbon fiber rapid monopod with tabletop tripod capability. This I know people that paid $300 for this or $299, and they love it. Now you can get it for 145. You're not going to find a carbon fiber monopod with these features for $145 anywhere, and Sure is an excellent brand. I have one of their non-carbon fiber monopods that I love to death because of the rapid conversion to tabletop tripod and the overall quality and build quality of everything. This is a forever monopod. You're going to keep this for the rest of your life. This is not one of the monopods that you buy for 20 bucks and throw away when you break it or lose it. This is a lifetime tripod for 145. Or I'm sorry, monopod. Okay. I'm going to come back to these things. Here's some light stands. Someone had asked me about these last week, and not these two specifically. They were asking about another one. I think it was an Alonzi. The Alonzi is fine if you're going to be using it indoors mostly. These light stands or pseudo tripods. I mean, it has a 1/4 20 screw on the top, so you can put small tiny ball heads on these. Oops. Uh, sorry, I was talking about this monopod. I forgot to switch screens. I was talking about this monopod. This is a forever monopod. Okay. Uh, at $145. So, and the links to this are all down below. Just go to robtrek.com/deals and it'll take you to the page that has all of these different items. Okay, let me close down some windows before I crash my computer. Okay. So these light stands, I didn't care for the Alonzi one because it had a linked and a very small base at the bottom as far as the legs expand out, which is perfectly fine and very convenient for indoor use. But I think they were asking me about using these in the field to carry something lighter. And these are going to be a lot more stable because the leg base can be expanded quite wide. Uh, this one has this one has the addition of expandable legs on the bottom, so you can put it on very uneven surfaces and still keep your monopod level or the light stand level. Uh, oops, what the heck was that? I don't know. All right. Okay, so I won't go into this too much. This is a carbon fiber light stand. The reason this is a little bit pricey is because of the height. This can go up to 7 feet. Granted, that's with the legs extended all the way up like this, but this is a very nice quality light stand, and you can extend the legs out flat, so you have extreme stability with that. Okay, a couple of these bags I talked about last week. This doesn't look like it's on sale, so you always have to click on the link if you're interested in the product. And a lot of times when you go to the page, you'll see an additional coupon. So at $80, it's a little bit of a stretch, but you take 22% off. What do we get? So let's say 80 times 0.78, $62 for this backpack. And this is an excellent K&F backpack, nice canvas material. I think it's a very, very handsome looking backpack as well. Yeah, it's still functional. Has a separate top compartment, then a bottom compartment for all your gear. Nice front pocket with additional zippered pockets and expandable mesh type pockets for carrying like cables. And that's really, really handy and very convenient to have. And then also side opening down here, so you don't have to take the backpack completely off to access your gear. You can just grab. I don't normally leave my camera in my backpack when I go out. I have just lenses in there that I might want quick access to. And then, of course, a tripod holder on the side. So this has all the features you'd ever want, $62 in a very handsome design, and it's a 22 liter. They actually stated it here. This is a 22-liter backpack, so it's a really good size. And this does not have the belt strap, so don't overpack this and make it really heavy because you're going to get tired lugging this thing around with everything in there. But this is and I like that they include a lot of dividers with this backpack, and that's critical. And I now I see there's also a laptop sleeve. And this backpack actually looks like it opens from the back as well. So there's that. And then, cushioning on the back, all the things you would expect in a backpack. And K&F makes nice backpacks. I have a couple of theirs, as I mentioned before, and it's in brown and gray. I bought this, and this I really like. This is a really stylish backpack or messenger bag for 40 bucks. And there's another 10% off here, so it's $36. $36 for this with the coupon. You can't beat that. Uh, and it's a great style, very functional with lots of pockets down in here, in the front, in the sides. Again, I don't see the rear pocket. Yeah, right there. It also looks like it has a rear pocket based on this little strap here, but maybe not. I can't confirm that from this image. Uh, here's another nice option I should add to my list. Little different style, 5% off coupon. So it makes it what, $31. So this is even a little bit cheaper, and it's about the same size, but this is not okay, this is not a camera backpack, so that's why it's cheaper. As soon as you make something for a camera, they double the price, right? Uh, but anyhow, yeah, these are great. And then I have a bunch of other things I'm going to talk about later in the stream. I didn't want to dwell on these too much because I've talked about these a lot in the past. But this filter here, this is the 62 millimeter size, perfect for the 12 to 40 Pro f2.8. Very easy to step down to the 58 millimeter size. You can get the 58 at the same price. Looks like all of them are pretty much discounted in every size, like 10 bucks. So I can highly recommend this. This is another great filter. This is basically the same filter, just in other sizes are now available here. So definitely, I can recommend that. Okay, so that's the gist of the things that I found, for this week and for today's stream are mostly the backpacks, tripods, and a few of the filters. Now, let me go to the chat section, see if I missed any questions or feedback, and then we'll talk about some of the things that I actually got. Everything came in from Prime Day, so I may have to go out to my car to get the tripod because that's kind of the highlight of the whole haul that I got. Okay, let's see. I see. Good morning, Paul, out from Arizona, and ATR Bears here. Roger, good to see you. Jew, good to see you. Darko, always good to see you. Shri, good morning. Shri's local to me, so that's why I chuckled a little bit. And Peter says, I have the small K&H bag. I find it almost too small for the M1 Mark II. Okay. it's all in the packing, right? I do know what you're talking about because it feels if it's in terms of height, if you put a 12 to 40 Pro, uh, it yeah, it's like the zipper's right over that, right? I know where you're coming from. Typically though, I don't have the 12 to 40 Pro on my camera, but if you have a 12 to 40 Pro or the 12 to 100, you have to lay the camera down on its side if you want to leave the lens attached. So if you're going to pack like an EM1, OM1 type style camera in this K&F bag or the other bag that I showed, most likely you're going to need to separate the camera body and the lens, and then you'll have plenty of room. But if you want to leave it all in one piece, then laying it on its side is your best option. And then I put dividers on top of the camera and lens, and I can put a cup and I can lay a flash on top of that. So it's all in the packing. You know, you have to get really good at that old game like Tetris, where you're stuffing things in. But I found that once I got onto the site, you know, I have a smaller bag around my or sling around my back, and I have the camera and lens out. And now the bag just has it's very lightweight, doesn't get in the way. So it's kind of a balance, right? Because if you carry a giant backpack or I'm sorry, giant messenger bag with you, and you take out your camera and lens, now you got this big giant messenger bag kind of hanging off of you, which can get in the way sometimes. So it's a little bit of a compromise going with a slightly smaller uh, sling bag, but then ultimately, I think it's a little bit easier once you get out in the field because you're going to have at least one camera and lens out of the bag, and then you can have your flash and another lens in there with some filters and batteries, and it's just kind of nice. So it's all in how you kind of look at the overall picture of using these kind of things. What are the compromises? And yeah, it's a little bit tight. I agree, especially with you know the pro lenses in the OM system lineup. If you're going out with some kit lenses and regular lenses, 25, 45 f1.8s, no problem fitting that in the bag. So thank you for sharing your experience with that. Uh, but I just want to elaborate a little bit more. Okay, and then Darko asks, are the Raynox? Oh, I have to make this screen bigger. My dying eyes, I can't see. Are the Raynox type macro filters still available? I still want to get one for this. Yes. If you go down here, it's probably closer to the bottom of my page. Yeah, right here. The Photo Z. These are excellent. I just did a photo shoot this photo shoot. I like to go in my backyard every morning and just try and find some bugs to take pictures of. And let's see. Uh, wasn't this? This was some other thing, just photo job I was doing. Let me go back to. I got to deliver these photos. I think it's in this folder. Yeah, this is this morning, right? And I haven't processed or done anything. I did, but here's one. This is the stacked image in camera focus stacking, and it works great. I mean, the detail that you can get uh with this lens. Here's another one. This was focus stacked. The fly moved a little bit, unfortunately, so there's some motion blur in here. And then what is this? Oh, yeah, that's gross. I hate it when I catch the back. I can't see what direction the spider is facing when I take their picture because I it's just blurry to my eyes. So it's not until I stack everything. But there's a couple just from this morning and then from the other day. Let's see. Here's another one. This is using the adapter. And you know, this is not processed or anything. This is straight out of camera JPEG. But you can get really, really, really close with this lens. And then I think this is, yeah, this is another one. Let me see. I think this one I need to move this to my other folder. This is some more from this morning, I believe, or this was yesterday. Yeah, this was probably yesterday. This is the straight out of camera raw. A little bit of dew on the eye there. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So, anyhow, don't want to bore you guys to death with my terrible macro shots. I was doing some testing here. I'll talk about this when we get to the flashes. Okay, any suggestions where we can store our photos for free online? I have been using Instagram and it was deactivated by Instagram without any warning. All my photos, followers. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. I I don't know. I use Flickr. I know you can store 1,000 photos there, I believe, on the free account. If you have an Amazon Prime membership, you can do unlimited photos there. Uh, with Google, you get like, I think 15 gig of storage. So if you're storing JPEGs, that could be thousands of images there. But ultimately, yeah, I think at this point, a lot of places you're going to have to pay if you want unlimited storage, either with a Prime membership at Amazon, or I don't use it, or I pay for Flickr annually about $80 a year for Flickr, and it's unlimited. So that's all I can recommend. The value of the Z9 was installed as my roof on my house last weekend. Being broke for a while will be a. I'm sorry, my eyes are so bad. Being broke for a while will be a really for a bit. Okay, a little convoluted the sentence there, but will be a reality for a bit. Okay, so you basically had your roof installed instead of buying a Z9. That makes sense. And good morning, Adam. Good to see you. And Marco, good to see you. And really, that's the second time I've heard somebody tell me to kill the lantern flies. I got probably hundreds of them in my backyard. I didn't know. I don't know what the problem is. I don't like to kill things uh, unless they're a danger to me personally. I don't know if someone could. I'll look it up later. But that's odd. That's the second time I've heard that. Okay. So, that's oops, yeah, everything's that's the gist of it. So again, I'm running my streams ad-free and relying on your support through the affiliate links and coffees and memberships, like, subscribe, all of that stuff. It's greatly appreciated. Super chats, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask them here. I'll do my best to answer them. But I will go over some of the things that I bought from Prime Day and talk about those. Everything I think except one item is been met or exceeded my expectations. There is one item that I bought that I did not. I want to return it, but it was like an $8 item, so it almost cost me as much to go return it because I have to drive over to the place than to keep it. So let me see. Let me take 1 minute break here and gather the tripod and a couple other things, put those together, and then I'll talk about all the things I bought, including this media light flash. It was $39 on Prime Day right now. I think with a coupon it's about $45. Don't quote me on that. We'll double check. And some extension tubes and a few other things, including the thing that I want to return because it's terrible. So give me 1 minute. I'll be right back, and get ready for some deals that I had, and hopefully they're still available now. We'll double check. Okay. Um, all right, so let's test out one of the new features of my new webcam. I think if I click this button, it'll track it'll track me now. Okay. So here's the tripod. This is the Photo Pro. Let me pull up the link. Uh, so this tripod, the reason I got this comes in this really nice, really, I mean, this is a really nice tripod case. And what I like about it has two zippered pockets on the outside and then another one on the inside. So you can pack, your Arca Swiss plates and Allen wrenches, and I have a handle in here if I want to put a handle. But this monopod or this tripod, let me just set it up so I can demonstrate it. Why I got this tripod for very specifically for doing panoramas, and I'll show you a really good example of how this helps doing panoramas. Okay, so take a closer look at the head here. Okay, so we have an inverted ball head combined with a fluid head with a separate rotation axis. That's what makes this thing so ideal for doing panoramas. Okay, because if this tripod's on level ground like this, so you level it the best you can using the legs, but then because this is an inverted ball head, this is a hybrid photography and video uh, head. Because I'll just raise this up. Let me just loosen this, and I'll just come up about an inch. Well, maybe a little bit more than that. Because now you have basically your ball head here, right? And you can do full 90-degree, portrait mode if you want, just like any ball head. So this is the hybrid part of it. You still have a ball head here, like you would with any other photography type tripod, but the addition of the fluid head being on its own independent rotating axis makes it a big deal. And the top here, unlike a lot of video tripods, this is Arca Swiss compatible. So what I'll do is I'm going to take this off. This is separate. This is the actual Arca Swiss part here. Uh, and there is a spirit level here. So what I'll do is, usually I have my glasses on. I'll take it and I'll level the spirit head first, like this. Once it's level, I'll lock this into place. So what this allows me to do, and I'll just put a camera on here. Uh, it comes with its own Arca Swiss plate. A lot of times, though, like on my OM, well, this is the Sony, but anyway, a lot of my cameras have this base plate where I have to put the camera on this way. But with this fluid head, I can only put it in this direction, and that's not good. So I have a separate Arca Swiss clamp that has on the bottom here. Let's see if I can get it to focus. You'll notice that it has an Arca Swiss plate on the bottom. So what this allows me to do is basically inverse or put at a 90-degree angle so that I can mount my camera on the front like this. So now when I rotate this ball head, because I leveled it first, regardless of where your legs are, you could be on uneven ground. When I rotate this, I'll get a nice level pan. And of course, if I have an L bracket on my camera, I can do a vertical. But in addition to that, if I want to do multi-row panoramas, right? Because this has a fluid head, when I come back to center, I can tilt down in the same exact position, right? Still maintaining being level and rotate this way. And then I go back to the center and I pull up, and then I can do my third row this way. And looking from the side, now I'm just using a kit lens like I do with a lot of my cameras. I'm a big kit lens guy. I just like the small, lightweight kit lens part. I have a little bit of wiggle room here because in panorama photography, it's very important to access the nodal point. So I have a little bit of wiggle room here where I can slide the camera forward and back. And I'm going to assume the nodal point is right about here. Now, I would test this in the field to make sure, or I would have notes in my logbook of what the exact position would be for each lens. But I'm not that diligent, right? So I can move this back so that I'm almost to the nodal point. And now I'm going to get perfect or near perfect stitching for my panoramas as I'm doing them. And that's because of the rotator here is level because of the inverted ball head. The fluid head allows me to tilt. Because imagine if I had to do this with just a ball head. Let's just pretend this is a ball head and I'm doing my panoramas. As I'm turning the camera this way, I might be able to get a level pan. I might be able to get a level pan going this way, but as soon as I want to do a multi-row, I have to loosen the ball head and tilt up and then try and angle it again, then, tighten the ball head. It's a pain. This makes the whole process so much easier. And I'm not giving up anything. I'm not giving up anything with this tripod versus, say, a more dedicated photography tripod with a normal ball head. The inverted ball head gives you that capability, assuming it has because not every inverted ball head has a separate rotator on the top like this one does. But the combination of this fluid head, inverted ball head, separate rotator, and the ability to easily add, because if you use longer lenses, all you need to do really, hello, okay, maybe this whole Insta3, anyway, is to get a nodal rail like this. And then this slides right in the front. And this is the best, this is better than using the smaller Arca Swiss clamp. And to answer your question, Paul, there is a link to this exact clamp. And it's on sale right now, I believe, for like $13 or $14. But that is on my deal page as well. So I'll go back to the deal page and I'll talk about these couple of items. So, because someone had asked me last week what I thought about this tripod because they knew I ordered it, but it didn't come in at the time. But now that it's in, the second part of that question was, do you think it's worth $200? Because it's not on sale anymore. And I will qualify this statement with yes, but only if you're like heavy into doing panoramas. Okay, like this. Because this is a little bit of a smaller ball head, inverted. It's not going to hold super heavy things. I mean, I think I can hold about anything I have in my Micro Four Thirds system, but I don't know if you have a full frame system with the big lenses. This setup might be a little bit too lightweight. But let's say you're in the Micro Four Thirds system or APS-C, you're perfectly fine here. And it's very compact once everything is packed up. So I bring this down, and this has the flip locks. So even if I don't have to worry about the plastic shims with the flip locks. It's not, I prefer twist locks, honestly, but after having the shims break on me a couple of times and going online and reading about twist locks and the frickin' shims, I'm now a flip lock guy, even though it's not as convenient. But there is a certain sense of confidence you have that once you lock this in, it's not your legs are not going to slip. You didn't forget to like twist one of the locks because you can visibly see when things are closed. But you can see that this is very compact. It doesn't have a lot of width to it, right? So let me move up. And this also converts to a monopod. Okay. So you take this leg off, you take this off. I wouldn't recommend it so much as a monopod, obviously because a lot of tripods do that. But this all-in-one combination with this awesome tripod bag, this packs up very, very nicely, nice and compact. Okay. So let me go to the deal page and sorry about the audio. I just noticed that. Sorry. Spammer. Okay, so hopefully the audio is good here. So if you scroll up, let's see, right here. Yeah, it is on sale for $13. This is the mini plate that I just showed you. And this is awesome. Uh okay, right next to this is an example. This is a very similar tripod, but with a regular ball head. And this has a 34 millimeter ball head, so it's a very similar size to the one I just showed you, but it's not inverted. So this is the big caveat, right? If you're not doing panoramas a lot, you can do it. You can do it with a regular ball head. It just takes a little bit more, a little more work, right? But the trade-off is this is half the price, okay? Or the benefit of this is half the price of the one I just showed you. And in my opinion, is every bit of good quality. Also, the same compactness and the same functionality with the monopod option. This one is a little better as a monopod than the one I just showed you. It's not on sale, but this is a killer deal, regardless. Very compact. You would easily pay double this price with any other brand. I need to reach out to them and ask them to send me one of these because I would love to see this in person, but everything I'm looking at here, this is a very similar quality to the K&F brand. With as far as the legs go, the legs are probably 25 millimeter tubes, which is kind of standard. It's kind of compact. This is even more compact than the tripod I just bought because the center column is not cylindrical. The center column is uh, what do you call it? A polygon. It has straight edges, so it actually collapses down even tighter. So if you want a quality carbon fiber tripod at a really good price, this is hard to beat, regardless of any other carbon fiber tripod on sale. Because if we go down here, oh, look, you can look at the price history. Oh, it's been this price for almost a year now. But even Newer's LT32, which is a great tripod, and this is a great deal for the LT32. And this has the inverted ball head, but it does not have the independent rotator. So that's why I had this tripod for a while and I sold it because I thought it would be ideal for doing panoramas without the fluid head. But as it turns out, because it doesn't have an independent rotation of the plate, I can't really use it for panoramas. So let me give you a good example. Uh, uh, was it here? No, maybe here. Yeah, this. So let me show you how I built this panorama. And we'll select the raw. Well, let me just do the JPEGs. So this particular panorama that I created, look how perfectly that's stitched together. It's probably hard to see on the stream, but this stitched together perfectly. And that's because if you look at the individual shots, as I'm rotating left to right, oh, it wasn't this one. I think it was yeah, it was this set here. And let me go back to just the raws. As I'm stitching left to right, everything stays perfectly level, right? And yeah, no big deal. You can do that with a lot of tripods. But it's when I go to the second row that it makes a difference going down to the second row. Because with the fluid head, I can tilt down. And I got a perfect uh, stitch in my panorama software. And what makes that nice is you can use just about any panoramic software, even the free and cheap ones, and won't have any problem stitching, multi-row panoramas like this because everything lines up properly. Okay, there seems to be a lot of refurbished lenses for sale. Other than dropping it or mold, what could be reasons for refurbishing so many lenses? Uh, I think it's just profit driven because they pay next to nothing for the lenses most likely, and then they find out they're working fine, clean them up and sell them for a huge margin. So I think it's just a more business driven than it is anything else. Because places like uh, well, there's places like KEH, MPB, they do it. That is their main business is reselling used stuff, and they clean them up, add a warranty to it. And as you know, if you ever gotten a quote from MPB, it's usually half what they sell it for. So I got quoted $300 for my EM5 Mark III, and then I see them selling them for $700-800. So they're selling it for more than double. So I think it's just business driven more than anything. I don't think there's anything more to it. And I'm gonna take out my refurb TG7 out for a walk later. Can't we? Yeah, awesome. How is it? How is the condition? Because I got a comment on one of my videos a few months back about how the refurb site from OM Systems, they're getting junk. I'm like, I haven't bought anything from OM Systems refurb site recently, but when I used to do it when they were Olympus, everything I got was primo, like open box quality. How's your TG7? I'm curious. Let us know. Um, yeah, a lot of refurbs are just things that got cleaned up and put back in the box. So yeah, and Marco makes a good point. It's just business, recouping cost, inventory cost. It's a cash flow issue. Okay. Um, so yeah, seems to be new. That's been my experience as well. Whenever I bought refurb from Olympus, now OM Systems, it's basically open box, right? Comes in a generic box, but the product itself is brand new. And I've bought a lot of, not a lot, but I've bought several things through the refurb site when they have that 20% off spring deal. Uh, so that was cool. Okay, I do want to mention a couple other things here. Let me scroll down. Okay, so last week I had a deal for these that were, you got four of them for like $9. But since then, this showed up. It's not on sale, but you get six of them for $10. So this is a better deal than the one I showed last week. So uh unfortunately I'd already ordered the four pack that came in. So I paid like $9 for a four pack. These are basically Peak Design compatible, but I kind of like this system actually. Um, because they're pretty strong. But yeah, and I like using my old vintage straps. So I'll hook up like this one. So this is a good example of why I switched. Oh, that's not it. It's my strap. Did I not put it back? It should be right here. I keep taking straps on and off. Whoops, let me lock my screen. I hate when it's jumping around sometimes. It was Did it drop down? Well, here's a vintage strap. It's odd, but I do like using my old vintage straps. Like this is an old Olympus strap. This is an old Nikon strap over here, right? And I can just what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert these to that Peak Design clips, and I'm going to use these straps. I like these. Um, I had another Olympus one. I just had it on yesterday. I don't know where it went. I don't know. I just had it on yesterday. Can't find it now. So yeah, $10, and you can convert all your old fancy, vintage straps. I'm going to try and find maybe a leather one. I know I have a leather one somewhere that I'm going to try and convert over to this. And it's important because in this part here, this is I'm going to replace this. It's important that you have plastic around your camera because you don't want to scratch your camera up. I've done that. I've scratched the corners of my camera because I used metal ring loops and things. But with this being all plastic, it's not going to scratch your camera while you're using it. Okay. And John says, haven't found the grip for the EP5, but did find a half case for it on Amazon that has a bit of a grip. Does anyone have it? Oh, I don't have that. Uh, but when it comes to grips, typically I like the ones that have the Arca Swiss plate built on the bottom. So I finally found the one for the OM3 again. This one here. It's on sale for $43. This has the Arca Swiss plate on the bottom and the extended grip here on the top, and that's a great deal. And there's a 10% coupon right now on top of that. So if you want just the grip for the OM3, and this grip here, it's not just a grip, it also protects the bottom of the camera. So and helps distribute the weight, and It also has a separate quarter 20 screw here on the bottom. So if you do want to plug it directly into something, quarter 20 thing, you can do that. And it really doesn't add any weight to the camera. It weighs about 70 grams, give or take. So it adds a little bit of weight, but the camera is pretty lightweight to begin with, so you don't have to worry. But yeah, I love this kind of. This is the one that I have for my own 5, and for my EM10 Mark II. Uh, and I would have probably bought this if it was available for my OM3, but at the time this was not available. So I ended up buying a half case. The half case on my OM3 does not have the Arca Swiss plate here on the bottom. That's its only flaw, which is fine because it still has the quarter 20 screw. So I can attach it to, I was doing some macro stuff with the, I didn't talk about this flash yet. I need to talk about this, the F2, because a lot of you bought this through my affiliate links, which I greatly appreciate. But I wanted to give you what my experience has been so far. And I would say for the money, between $40 and $50, right? It kind of goes in that range. This is a great flash because of the functionality of being able to use it off camera, because the trigger is included separately. And then you can use this off camera and put the flash anywhere you need it to be. It's also pretty bright. It's not as bright as, say, it's about a stop less brighter than the FLM3, but it's about the same size, right? As you can see. And it also tilts up just like the FLM3. The FLM3 has two advantages though, right? It rotates, and this is weather sealed. This is not weather sealed. But if you have an OM5 Mark II, this is no good to you. It no longer supports the FLM3. So this is no longer an option. You have to go with this one. So let me answer a question I remember I got from Sunday about this flash. And that is, they were having trouble with using this with rear curtain sync. I never used rear curtain sync, so I said, okay, let me figure this out. Turns out any flash that is single pin does not work with rear curtain sync. You can only use front curtain sync. And because I tried a few flashes that were all single pin, none of them worked in rear curtain sync. But as soon as I put a TTL compatible flash, one that has like the 5 pins, then the rear curtain sync worked just fine. So the short answer is this does not work with rear curtain sync. It is not a problem with the flash. It is just the way single pin flashes work. So I can highly recommend this as a replacement to the FLM3 for people that bought the OM5 Mark II. Now that said, um, I like to do focus bracketing. And for focus bracketing, the weak part of this flash, the battery life seems really good. I did a few hundred shots at varying power levels, and the battery is still recycling fast, so the battery seems to be fine. But the recycle time is pretty slow. It's 5 or 6 seconds at full power, uh, roughly 2, 3 seconds at half power, right? It just makes sense. It's kind of a linear power curve versus the light output. And then about 1 second or less at minimum power. So you can do focus bracketing, but if you're going to operate, if you need full power, you're going to have to set your flash delay to 8 seconds. If you're at full power, at half power, set your flash delay to 4 seconds, or flash interval to 4 seconds, and then 2 seconds on this, and then 1 second at the lowest power. So just a tip, what my experience has been so far. The overall light output, like I said, is about a stop less than the FLM3, but it's still plenty bright for most things. I'll give you an example. I was doing some shots of Ellie. That's going to be in my Ellie folder. I believe it's this. Yeah, this folder. Come on. Are there any examples with and without the flash, though? That's with. That's all with flash. It'd be. I'm trying to find one where I had took some without flash and with flash, so you can see a side by side. It's not going to be that folder. Let's see. Definitely not that one. I was shooting with my Pentax monochrome too, so it's hard to find. Okay, I think it's this folder. These are all indoor. My apologies for the delay here. I thought I'd be able to quickly find that folder again, but I'm not. Come on. It's not that one. It's gotta be this folder. Nope, that's the monochrome. Ah, this folder. Okay. So I'll show this one. Let me set this as the reference. So here's an example of using the flash straight on versus using the flash as a bounce by tilting the head up. Huge difference, as you can see. Much softer, more natural light indoors when you can bounce the light off a wall or something. So more than enough power. I'm at ISO 1600, 1/100th of a second. So, because I was trying to balance a little bit of ambient light as well. Let me go down here. If we set this as the reference, here's an example outdoors, right? Where I use the flash to as a fill light, basically. So with and without flash. Um, that's one example. Let's see, there should be some more examples here with and without. I believe this one, and this one I edited a little bit. Let me compare it to the one that's not edited. 4606, yep. 4607. But it's a very subtle difference, right? Using with and without flash. Sometimes it's very subtle, like in this image. Sometimes it's more stark, like the one I showed earlier. So what I do a lot of times though is I'll either lower the aperture or crank the ISO up a little bit to blend the ambient light together with this flash, and it looks really good. But this flash is so small and underpowered, relatively speaking, that you really can't use it at full power because of the 5 or 6 second recycle time. You're gonna have to wait. For doing close-up and macro photography, if you're gonna do focus bracketing, it's gonna have to be still life because of the recycle time. Even at its lowest power setting, I was struggling a bit because of the recycle time. I had to set the recycle time to about 1 second, 1 second in intervals to make sure I got a reliable flash with every shot. But this is on sale for like $45 with a coupon or something. Yeah, I can recommend this because of the ability, the bouncing ability, really enough power output, and also being able to use this off camera because sometimes if you can get the light really close to your subject for macro work, you can definitely use the lowest power setting. So yeah, and it's USB-C chargeable. Like I said, the batteries seem to be pretty good. I went through, how many shots did I go through yesterday? Let me see. Oh no, I already curated my albums. But I went through about 400 shots at various power levels. I didn't shoot 400 full power shots, but I went through about 400 shots at various power levels with focus bracketing. That's easy to do, right? You can burn through some images, and it was fine. And it was still recycling sort of at a normal rate. So I would imagine the battery was still had at least 50% capacity. So the rating that they stated or claimed on their site, in their advertising seems to be on par. Okay, let's see. Is this inverted fluid ball head, newer tripod fluid ball head with plus or minus tilt? Yeah, that's the one. So let's talk about this ball head. Uh, so we'll go back to my page. I think you're referring to, let me go up. I'm sorry. I know what you're talking about. I have it on my deal page. Where did it go? There's the Media Light 4656. Let me just see if there's a coupon on top of that. And there's a 5% coupon. So about $45. And it comes with this hard shell case. I don't know why, but it comes with a hard shell case as well. Uh it might be on my tripod page. Yeah. If you click on this up here, uh just on my name there, you can go over here to the tripods. I'm sure it's in here. Here it is. So let me add this to my deal page because it looks like it got overlooked. Okay. $31. So this has 10-degree leveling base, so you can tilt about 10 degrees in other. So this is primarily a video head. Let me just check your. Is this inverted fluid ball head newer tripod fluid head with yeah? I think you're talking about this one. This is not an inverted ball head. This just has, if you look closely, this just has a strictly a leveling base, which is different than an inverted ball head. Okay, and this is very small. Okay, I have this fluid. No, I don't have this exact one, but I have one this size. I'll go get it. Actually, I had made coffee. I forgot. Let me just put a little creamer in there and I'll go get that ball head. Got some notification. Did I get a package? Oh, no. All right. So this ball head, I think just confirm that that's the one you're asking about. Hey, Michael, how are you? So this is the fluid head. This is about the same size as the one that I have on my deal page, but this one does not have the leveling base, only the fluid head. But compared to the Photo Pro, maybe it's all in my head. Maybe they're the exact same size. No, this one is bigger. Okay. But the one on my Photo Pro it feels like it's nearly double the size. It's quite a bit of difference here, right? Um, but the one here from Newer that we're talking about, this this is pretty small. It's adequate. But this is the cheapest way to get a leveling base with a fluid head that has an independent rotator. So if you already have sort of a small tripod, like a travel tripod, that that fluid head is perfect. But you just have to be on relatively level ground to start with because there's only about a 10-degree tilt in any direction. But that's usually more than enough. Most of the time, you don't need the whole 10 degrees. If you do, you need to make some adjustments or find level ground. But you know that's why I put that on my deal page, and I've been keeping an eye out for it because it's a very, very cheap way to get everything you want. And you can use, you still need to get like an Arca Swiss rail, okay, or something like this, like a nodal rail. Excuse me, a nodal rail. If you're going to use any longer lenses, but if you're not using really long lenses and you're using kit lenses, you can kind of get away with just a regular Arca Swiss plate or Arca Swiss clamp that has the Arca Swiss plate on the bottom built in. Okay. And so Balvant Patel, let me know if that was if this is the one you're talking about, then yeah, I can recommend this. It's a very, very cheap way because if you look at my tripod page, I mean, for 31 or $32, uh, the next best alternative, if you don't want to buy a cheap, newer brand, this isn't. This is a little bit bigger. It's a closer to the size of my Photo Pro. But this is a true inverted ball head. This has two separate rotators. I'm trying to think of an actual application to have this rotating part in here twice. I'm sure there is, but uh, you would primarily use the rotation up here that's above the ball head so that you get a nice level panning. I saw this in person at the camera store when they were doing a show, and I was willing to buy this. It comes, this comes available with a tripod. I was going to buy the tripod that went with this because the tripod is carbon fiber, very compact, lightweight, but it was almost $300. But I love doing panoramas so much over time to have a very high quality solution didn't bother me. But thank God I found the Photo Pro that I showed earlier on sale. But I would definitely pay $200 for it even now. If I didn't get it during Prime Day, I would buy it now for $200 because it's very hard to find an all-in-one solution for a very specific thing that you want to do. At the same time, it's not limited either. You're not really compromising your standard ball head that you could normally get, other than in price. If all you want is a ball head for photography and you don't care about panoramas, you're paying too much. 200 is too much. But if you do panoramas, it is the perfect tool. And this newer ball head inverted fluid head, it's a fluid head, it's not a ball, it's a fluid head with a leveling base. It's small, but for the Micro Four Thirds stuff, that's perfectly fine. If you have a full frame camera, you're gonna have a hard time. You're gonna be tightening that thing down so much, and then it's a pain in the ass. So I would only recommend that for your smaller camera lens combinations. Uh, you could even get away with like my A7R5 with a kit lens, even though this is still pretty heavy. It, I would recommend going to the Photo Pro for something like this, and then for even longer lenses, you probably have to step up your game to something even more solid. Uh, there's a lot of full frame people. They they're shooting with their 70 to 200 doing landscape panoramas, and you need something like this that has like a 65 millimeter base on a tripod that has like 40 millimeter tubes. You need to kind of, if you're going to go all in with a full frame system, you need to kind of go all in with the gear, and the price goes up exponentially. Okay, and then let me see what this says. My Plastic Fantastic 14 to 42 is done, so I need a zoom replacement. I'm looking at the 12 to 200 or the 14 to 150. I need a hard push from someone to decide. I own the 17 to 50 and uh the 51.2. Oh, that's cool. My advice would be 14 to 150. The 12 to 200 is a little bit big and bulky. And I'm assuming you have like an EM5 Mark III. If you have an OM1, then the 12 to 200 might be a better choice because it's wider and longer, right? And the quality is not bad. I did a few shots with it. I borrowed it from my friend David. I think David's here. What do you think of that lens, David? Now that you've had it a while, the 12 to 200. I didn't think it was that bad. I wouldn't say I was impressed, but I would say that for what it is, it's not bad. But the 14 of 150 is going to be a lot cheaper because the 12 to 200, you're going to have to pay on the used market $700. If you really shop it, you might find one for 500, but that's far and few between. David Crooks is good at finding deals like that, but because I think that's what you paid for, right, Dave? But I see them typically around 6 or 700. The 14 to 150 you can get for half the price, and it's, in my opinion, just as good, but doesn't have quite the reach or the width, right? I think both are weather sealed, so I would lean towards the 14 to 150 for size and weight primarily, and it's basically half the price of the 12 to 200, and I don't think the compromises are too much. So that would be my opinion. Okay. Okay, good, Baldwin. So that was the one you were asking about. It's a little small, but uh it'll do everything you need all in one. So if you have a nice little tripod for $31, you can get all the functionality that I have with my $200 tripod uh for all intents and purposes, right? Mine is a little more flexible, of course, but for the if you just want to have a nice fluid head with a leveling base for panoramas, that's a really good deal. Just don't forget to get like a nodal rail if you want to get really serious about your stitching, right? And learn how to use this. I don't have a video on this, but there's lots of videos about nodal rails. A lot of people tell you not to use it, or not, let me rephrase that. A lot of people say, software takes care of a lot of the problems now, and that is true, but a lot of software still struggles sometimes. Even the best will struggle sometimes if you don't give it, garbage in, garbage out, right? If you don't give it a really solid panoramic images to begin with, the more likely you could run into errors that you're not going to find out until you get back home. So maybe 80% of the time the software does it perfectly. That 20%, that was your money shot. And because you didn't have this, it's hard to fix, right? Uh, or just more trouble to fix. You can eventually fix anything in software. All right, awesome. Awesome questions, and I think some really good. Oh, you got your 60. Awesome. No, don't get a lens hood. Because a lot of times on the 60, I bought a lens hood for it, but I ended up not using it. Uh, because with macro work, a lot of times you're really up close to the subject, and there's not a lot of light because macro work, you go out in the mornings when the bugs are not moving very fast, and there's not a lot of light, so you don't have to worry about flaring. As far as protecting the front element, it will do that, and having a lens hood on will help protect the front element so you're not bumping the lens into the subject. You don't normally get that close because 60 gives you about this much working distance anyway. So you're not going to you don't have to worry about protecting that lens quite as much as say a normal lens like an everyday lens like a 25 that you have around your neck and you're walking around all the time. A 60 macro, when you have your 60 macro lens on, you are out there shooting with a purpose, right? So it's not hanging around your neck and you're not walking around and it's swinging around all the time. So the other thing is if you're going to get the, okay, so I was out this morning, right? I love this thing. Now this will attach, if I had a lens hood attached, this will attach to the lens hood as well, right? But you don't get as much magnification the further out you put this. So you want to have this mounted directly to the lens ring mount of the 60 macro. And this gives me about 1.5x. 1.5x magnification with this when you're at the minimum focusing distance. And this works great. There are shots that, because you know how tiny these freaking bugs are sometimes. This makes a big difference, and I don't see any loss in quality with this particular one. There are other diopters that screw directly onto the lens, and you can get like a 4-pack for $20. They suck. Okay. The edges are mushy, and the center is a little bit soft, low contrast. This one, no problem at all, corner to corner, and it snaps on perfectly onto the 60 macro. So I would definitely get this and not use a lens hood. And don't forget, the diffuser, right? So I usually have a diffuser here. So, this is my macro setup, the all-in-one in this case with the 60 macro. And the 60 macro, of course, you can get some extension tubes, and I get one-to-one macro combined. These extension tubes with this diopter, I can get one-to-one with, I'm sorry, excuse 2-to-1. I can get 2-to-1 magnification with this setup. The only challenge with this setup is focus stacking is really hard because there's not a lot of room. It really limits the focal range or depth of field that you have access to. Uh, so I need to practice a little bit of focus stacking with this combination. I'm not having much luck right now, but for single shots, 2x magnification. And these are like $25. This is about $43. So for like, let's say $70, you can get 2-to-1 macro with a 60 macro lens. And I have these on my deal page. Okay. Uh, yes, it'll work with the OM1. Just remember that the fluid head is pointing straight, so you're going to need a way to uh, invert it, like I did with this. See if I can get this. So you need one of these to kind of invert the fluid head. Turn the Arca Swiss clamp 90 degrees. You need to get an additional clamp for that newer. Or better yet, just get a nodal rail. These are about $25. I think sometimes they go on sale for less than 20. This would be the perfect setup for your panorama. If you don't already have one, this is perfect. Then you don't need to do anything special. You just put your camera here, put this in the fluid head, and set your nodal point, and you're good to go. All right, so a couple other things. If you just need a rotator, You can put this on your ball head, level your ball head, and then just rotate because it's all about having your level and then rotating. Well, yeah, it's a pain in the ass. But this does have a purpose and a place for certain situations. I just wanted to show you different solutions to do a lot of the same things. None of these, other than the tripod that I showed you, is really an all-in-one situation. These indexing rotators are awesome for consistency. Basically, it has little clicks as you rotate your camera. And if you're doing multi-roll panoramas, this makes it 10 times easier. But they're not cheap. They're like 50 bucks, right? Or this one, okay, this one's on sale, $41, and it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks to get it. I like this one though, because you can attach this directly to the fluid head or ball head, or put it in between. And it's relatively compact, but they have even smaller ones. Let's see. This is the smallest one, but this just simply has, I think these are 3/8" threads, top and bottom. So a 3" thread out and a female 3/8 thread on the bottom. So this is something you would permanently mount to your tripod and then put your ball head or fluid head on top. But you have remember, it has to be one of those tripods that have the leveling base built in to the legs. So this is, there's so many different ways to do the same thing, but everybody's situation is a little different because you might have an awesome set of legs. So let me give you an example. Let's say you own this. This has the leveling base built in, so you could put the rotator right on top of this, and then whatever the fluid head that I showed earlier, uh, this one, you could put this fluid head on top, and then you have like a $500 setup, right? But this is like for full frame, large lens, you're dead serious about your panos, that kind of thing. But this is another example. This is a very affordable example. This one has a leveling base built into the sticks. That's when you would buy, like a indexing rotator like this. This is a nice addition to those kinds of setups. And the reason I say that is, you can eyeball it when you're turning. Just put up your rule of third grids in your EVF or live view, and you can easily do it by eye and line things up so that everything matches up perfectly. But sometimes I find I lose count when I'm turning because I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, come down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, come up, 1. And the problem is I start losing count. Did I do this row? Did I do that? It's like, and how many was it across? How many down? That kind of thing. But when you have a rotator, you get a little tactile feedback in addition to keeping track mentally, right? So I really like the rotator when I was using it. The caveat is it adds quite a bit of weight to the setup, and I'm trying to go compact, lightweight as possible. So that's why, you know, I'm willing to forego the indexing rotator for a more compact setup and just get better at remembering how many I counted across and down and all of that. So, yeah, the snap-on. The snap-on will give you 1.5, then the extension tubes will give you 1.5. But if you combine them, the best I could get was 2.0, 2x magnification. So far, I'm still experimenting, but that's all I've been able to do. And yeah, the 14 to 150 and the 75 to 300 gives pretty much everything. I'm not doing fine art. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're not pro lenses, but for the money, it's hard to beat either one of those. The 14 to 150 gives you weather sealing. Um, a great zoom range, and it's very compact and lightweight. And on the used market, 300 bucks. The 12 to 200, 5, 600, probably closer to 600 than 500 most of the time. Extreme range. On the long end, the 200, it's a little bit softer than I like, but the versatility, the weather sealing, you're going to pay double, right? Closer to 600. But it's everybody's willing to pay. Like I said, something is worth what people are willing to pay, right? For me, it's not worth it, but I'm not saying it's not worth it for you, right? For a lot of people, $200 for this tripod is not worth it. I was ready to pay 200, but I said I'm going to wait. I waited a couple of months for Prime Day, and thank God I did. I saved 40 bucks because I can get by with all the other contraptions because I have the leveling base, the index rotator, a fluid head. I had all of these things combined, and it was a monstrosity. It was a freaking Frankenstein monster of a setup to do panoramas. So this solves all of my problems with very, very few compromises as a photography tool. And now, if I want, I can do video too. Because I took the handle off. There's a little handle here. I took that off, but I wouldn't hesitate to pay 200 right now. If we were closer to Black Friday, I would hesitate a little bit. Like if this were September, I would say just hold out. Probably Black Friday, this will be uh $40 off, right? You can save 20. Hey, I got 20% off, so I paid $160. Uh, but we're in frickin' July. So I'd rather, because time is money too. You're gonna lose 3, 4 months, 6 months out to October and not have use of such an excellent tool if you like to do panoramas. That doesn't make sense to me. It makes more sense for me to get it now for 200. But hopefully some of you got this. I only saw one of these sold off my deal page. 'Cause Amazon tells me what doesn't tell me who buys stuff, but it tells me what I sold. And I only saw one of these sell from my deal page, unfortunately. I wish more of you have gotten this because you can really have a lot of fun with panoramas. Um, or maybe you think panoramas are annoying and you just use a fisheye lens and get everything in one shot, right? Anyhow, so I returned the Sunway indexing head as it was tough to turn even with locking screws fully backed out. So my advice is to be ready to return them to Amazon as you have to buy. Okay. Yeah, I remember you talked about that in another stream. I mean, the rotators are a little bit tight because they're greased up a lot, but it shouldn't be more friction than it should feel like something was heavily greased, and that's the only thing you're fighting, right? Like a very thick grease. But if it's like too hard to turn where you feel like you're gonna break your Arca Swiss mount, yeah, that's not right. That doesn't make sense. So thank you for the reminder on that. I haven't had any problems with the index rotator that I got, but it is tight. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But if it's tighter than like let me put it this way, it's a little bit hard to turn it by hand. But once you have your camera mounted on it and you start turning, it should be relatively easy to turn. So that's a good way to think of it. It can be a little hard you can turn it, but it's a little bit hard to turn by hand. But as soon as you have it on a tripod with your camera, it shouldn't because now you have a little bit of leverage, right? It should be pretty easy to turn. If it's harder than that, then yeah, there's a problem. Yeah, and Amazon has a very, very liberal return policy. So if there's anything here that I've recommended, because a lot of this is sight unseen for me, I'm just giving you my opinion based on what I can find online and from my experience of buying things. And if it doesn't work out, for you for whatever reason. Maybe it's not the quality of the product, but not exactly what you needed or was expecting, or you're not going to use it the way you thought you would. It's okay, just return it, right? Um, I do have on my tripod page the Photo Pro fluid head. This is very similar to the one that comes on my tripod, but this has a leveling base and it's not an inverted ball head. But you can see the price. But if you need a bigger one, you're going to pay twice as much. But that's there too. So I have all of these solutions here, every which way but Sunday for you to do tripod panorama work and other things as well. And let me just look one more time. So I talked about the tripod and the flash head, the extension tubes a bit. I talked about these. I've not talked about this camera, but I love this little camera. This makes a great little gift. $32 is a good deal. Let me show you some pictures from this. The quality of images is fair. Don't pixel peep though, they suck. But let me see. I created an album. So let me give you a link to this album. Okay. One second. Oh, here. This camera is so much fun. I did a panorama with it because I have my new tripod, but I did this by hand. But I was in a panorama mood, right? It's pretty cool. So I took like 5 photos and then stitched them together. Uh, here's some other ones. I think, you know, it has a very, very vintage feel to it. And it also does video. See if I can find a video sample. Uh, Let me see, Sandy Point. If I open up this folder, oh, come on. View details and sort by file type. LMNO. So it should be in between the JPEGs and the RAWs here. Oh, no, I'm not going to find the video. One last, yeah, sorry, I'm not. I'll make a video about this camera and then that's when I can show some of the video. But it's cool, TLR style. The screen is actually in there. So you power it on. And I have showed this a couple of times in my other streams. Oh, the screen is coming on. It's just overexposed. So to record video, you rotate this. It's kind of silly because you're vibrating the camera while you're rotating this, but it gives a really, I wanted to show you video from it because it feels really vintage when you're doing this. And the video and images that come out of this have a very vintage feel to it. It has a black and white mode, which I showed one of the pictures from that. Uh, yeah, here's Oh, this might be sepia, but it has sepia and also has a black and white, I believe. And it shoots square format, but I think, you know, it's not bad. It really is not bad at all. So the value of fun versus the image quality. So image quality is probably on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give the image quality about a 2. Okay. Let's say the OM3, OM1 is a 10. This camera's about a 2. It's pretty bad. Uh, but the fun factor, you know, it's up here. It's a 10. This thing is so much fun. And I just take it everywhere because it's so tiny. So definitely get this just for fun. I mean, $32. That's the most fun you can have for $32 ever. Uh, okay, this is the last item I'm going to talk about because they're so cheap. Extension tubes for the Canon RF mount. The reviews suck on this, but I'm using these and they're fine. The reviews suck because people don't know how to do macro with extension tubes, basically, is what I read. These are great. And I shot a couple of images. Let me go back to my stream using this. Oh, by the way, the panels that I did with this tripod are in my Flickr page also. So if you want to eyeball them there. Uh, let me find, did I not post it? Because those are my 60 macros. Maybe I didn't post it there. I know it's on my Flickr. I thought for sure they'd be on my. So this is the, oh, that's the Sony. Yeah, here's one I did with these extension tubes. Canon R8 with these extension tubes, and I used the mini f2 flash, right? The one I've been shilling. I like that word. People use it, but it's kind of derogatory. But I've been shilling this f2 flash for like a week now. Uh, but I just used this f2 flash. Here's a jumping spider. I didn't have a diffuser on, so this is bare flash on this jumping spider. Imagine if you had, say, a Canon R5 with 47 megapixels with these extension tubes and like a legit flash for macro, so you can do stacking and stuff. But even with this, you can get by. Uh, what else can I say? Oh, one thing I'll mention about this flash, I forgot to mention this little LED light. Yeah, this sucks. Just forget that that exists. It's so dim. It's so dim. The only thing it's good for is like if you need to see the buttons on the back of your camera and it's pitch black out, maybe you can illuminate so you can see the buttons, but that's about it. Just use your cell phone, the light on your cell phone. It's better than that LED light. All right, any other questions? Uh, I think I covered everything. Yeah. There's more of the usual suspects on my deal page. If you have any questions about anything on my deal page, I can answer them because I'm familiar with everything here or have a very strong opinion. Oh, this is not a bad deal. $98 plus another 5% off. I think that's a little that's kind of 50-50 there, but uh This is a great round head flash. It has the older style LCD display, but you got all real tactile buttons. So that's definitely a pro for me. I prefer the buttons over the touchscreen. This is a great flash for Nikon, and you can use it on your Olympus cameras if you shoot in manual mode. So I would say rather than buy a generic flash, you could buy this Nikon version, use it on your Olympus camera in full manual mode. You get the lithium ion battery, you get the powerful 76-watt round head, and if you decide to upgrade to the newer radio triggers and flashes, well, actually, this is the problem. This is why I'm in Godox more now. It's because I can't find any newer flashes that work with Olympus directly. So I have to use everything full manual with the newer flashes. And I always shoot manual and I use flash anyway. So that's why this doesn't bother me so much. But if you want high-speed sync and TTL, y- you're not going to be able to use the newer flashes on OM Systems, Panasonic. As far as I know, they have Canon, Nikon, Sony. That's it. But this is about the same price as a generic flash with a lithium-ion battery and a powerful flash head with optional accessories and things like that. So it's kind of a workaround, but I think it's a good deal for anybody, even if you don't have a Nikon flash. Uh, I also got this thing. No, yeah, I showed that. I showed that. I did get this M42 adapter. I didn't put this on my deal page because it was like 40 bucks. I don't even have an M42 lens, but I wanted to see. I'm thinking about getting some M42 mount lenses. So I got the very best one I can. It's this K&F concept because of the discussion we had earlier about how the base plate here might get in the way of pins and uh, lenses that extend too deep into uh, the well here. Then hopefully this doesn't have any of those problems. And if I really get into some because there's some M42 lenses that I saw that I might want to try. Not the least of which are the Helio stuff, right? But we'll see. We'll see. TT Artisans has some M42 mount lenses. So I wanted to have an adapter ready to go whenever a lens came available rather than, you know, think about I don't have the adapter yet, so I'm gonna have to order both. I don't know. It's kind of a stupid reason to buy one, but I have one now and I'm ready to go. So I might go out to the community. Maybe this coming Sunday, I'll ask you guys what are some good M42 lenses to get so I can use this adapter. And I got this from Micro Four Thirds, right? Or did I? No, yeah, this is for my Sony camera. So I'm gonna adapt, I'm gonna adapt because most M42 lenses were made for 35 millimeter film. So that's why I got it for a full frame camera. Okay. So I have the rotator mounted onto my star tracker, which does not like any hard twisting for star panoramas. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Uh, Rob, your sunflower shot would be great cropped in just a bit with the flowers in the sky. Yeah. And is that new or compatible with Godox? Seems like the V1 knockoff. You have to get the Pro version. The newer Z1 or Z2 Pro is compatible. So this is the Z2 with the this is not a touchscreen, but this has the OLED display, right? This is the Z2. You have to get the newer Z2 Pro. If you get the Pro version, they do have a Godox compatibility mode. So you could get this Nikon version. Oh, that's not the Pro. And Pro's on sale right now, but Z2 Pro for Sony. Sony flashes are a pain in the ass, let me tell you. Z2 Pro for Canon. So you can get this one. See, it's not available. This is the problem is all these third parties, they're like Johnny on the spot with Sony gear, right? But coming up with OM systems, especially, they either don't offer it or it takes forever to get it. The Q Pro has, I believe, yeah, this trigger also has Godox compatibility, so I can fire Godox flashes with this trigger, but you need to find the Pro version of the. Yeah, I don't see too many. They're hard to find now. But yeah, you need the Pro version. So we'll call it. Um, you guys, thanks. One more second. Thought I saw something. Nope, I think I got it all. So you guys, thanks so much for your support today, being here, participating, asking questions. Click the like button, subscribe. Of course, I always welcome new members and donations, but especially on a day like a stream like this using my affiliate links, I'm really close to hitting a bonus level with Amazon. Uh, I think I'm about $1,000 in sales away. I need about another thousand in full retail. If somebody bought a camera, I'm done. But I'll get like $150 bonus if I reach this certain level. But that don't let that be anything that drive your decision on anything I talked about. What's important is you get the right gear at a good price, and hopefully I was able to give you some guidance on the different things we talked about today in an honest and fair way. So I appreciate that, and I will be back on Friday for my photo editing stream. So I'll probably put the link up for that after I finish this stream. You guys have a great rest of your day, rest of your week, and eat healthy, exercise, and I hope to see you again soon.